Hello and welcome to the Women's Empowerment Summit 2020. Today, I am honored to be able to bring you Dr. Alexandra Sitch, empowering women who want the freedom to be themselves by healing from the past so that they can find their intuition and inner compass and get on their unique life path and soul's mission. As best-selling author of the book, The Universal Language of Nature, A New Way of Conflict Resolution and Authentic Leadership, she has had many studies in international relations and conflict resolution in Europe, speaking 8 languages fluently. Alexandra worked as an interpreter and intercultural mediator in organizations in Europe and in the Middle East. With her knowledge of nonverbal communication and healing trauma through nature, uh, constellations, and energy work, she started to help individuals, business leaders in their personal development and improvement of relations. She is interested in the universal elements of communication and now empowers people who want the freedom to be themselves by healing from the past and finding their inner compass so that they can get on their unique life's path. She lives in France and regularly speaks at international conferences and organizes mediation and self-empowerment workshops across Europe and the USA. Welcome, Alexandra. I'm so excited to have you here on the show today.
Thank you so much, Alyson. Thanks for inviting me. And a big thank you to all the listeners, all the ladies listening to us now and sharing this space together.
Yes, thank you. When I'm reading your bio, I mean, I remember taking French in school and I was barely getting by. So 8 languages is impressive. But now that you're empowering women and and men, but I mean, when you're empowering women, what sort of brought you to that? What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, so to explain this to you all, I think I would first prefer to share with you a little bit about myself and something about my journey, my personal journey, because that was a bit the reason I started to think more and more of women and how to empower them. So, well, back in the 80s, I was right out of school. I dreamed of a life full of travels and interesting contacts in different cultures. I've always felt really like a fish in the water with my extremely diverse friends around the world. I studied international relations, languages, and conflict resolution, and loved to switch from one language to another and connect different people during negotiations and other professional situations. I worked in peace building organizations, NGOs, and several jobs in the European Union, such as Air France, KLM, Delta Airlines, as well, and the French German Airways. I noticed that conflicts between people and in teams could be for a great deal solved through dialogue and mediation. There's a special method, so you listen to each other's point of view, and you go back to the motives of each person. But there was really something missing, and the same conflicts came back. They researched often again. Then, at that moment, on the personal level, really quite turbulent love relation and pushed me into the deep, as well as health issues. I gave up a brilliant sales director job in the Burgundy area, which is in France, where you get the good wines from, where I've done presentations and incentives regarding history, culture, and wines. Now, with this new partner, I thought I'd already the new life planned in my mind, a life in the Highlands, managing character hotels and haunted castles, and offer them to travel agents. Although my intuition told me that this whole plan would not really work out, there was something not right. And yes, my professional life did work out, but my love life did not really, my personal life. I made a mistake. I didn't really listen to my intuition, and completely heartbroken, I had to take a break from my work and turn inward. I noticed that the most interesting journey is going deep down into the dark chambers of my soul. So I asked myself, who am I? What did I really want to do in this world? Chasing unavailable partners, or fit into a life full of control? How conditioned was I really? How conditioned are most of the people? Could I embrace my vulnerable side, have faith in the waves of life, and listen to my intuition and heart? Really going for innovative visions and relations which really fitted me. So solving and conflicts and misunderstandings in different environments had been my specialty, but inner conflicts were really completely unknown terrain for me. I dived into psychology books and energy work. So and one day I visited an equine assisted coaching congress by chance because I've always been around horses. I was always incredibly interested in animals and in nature. And I knew their magical power and wisdom, the wisdom of the herd, so called. So there has also been lots of studies on horses in the wild, how to survive, that each horse has got a role in that herd. Just for the survival of the herd, to just know also how to compensate the weaknesses of another horse. There's always this connection between them. During that congress, they showed me a mirror of me, myself and my relations during a session and my place in life. So they came closer when I made an inner movement of being, of recognizing something, of being in my authentic power, and would take a distance if I was not really my authentic self. I discovered how much animals or their energy can have help us with our conflict. So I started training on this, and with this knowledge of systemic influences, you know, the influence of your past, which stem from your childhood and personal expression on a deeper level, uh, I really got in touch with the heart intelligence, when you use your entire body as an organ of perception. So you embrace the world and sense your place in it more deeply, guiding us towards a new balance. And that's where horses help us and also other animals. So after this training, which was called Life in Healing Coaching, and shamanic coaching as well, because shamanic coaching is in fact very logical. It's just the philosophy that we're all connected with each other and connected to nature and to all animals. So with this knowledge, I worked, of course, still in mediation, but also offered this added value of getting in touch with the intuition and your non-verbal communication. So I started to work with several companies and individuals all over Europe and the Middle East, like even insurance firms, banks, women associations, psychotherapists, just to discover something completely new. And I saw how much it empowers managers, teams, and individuals to heal from systemic wounds, from conditioning from our past, and really focus on their intuition and their authentic power. So in fact, a sort of darkness, a treasure in the darkness, which defies logic, let's say. After some years of experience and lots of insight during these sessions, I collected these experiences exercising in my best-selling book, in fact, which came out just recently, which is then called The Universal Language of Nature, a new way of conflict resolution and authentic leadership, which is then also available on Amazon. I just love to describe these sessions because they say so much about our blind spots, our nonverbal communication in the private field, but also in the professional field. So in fact, my journey started with a collective, intercultural communication and so on, getting in touch with different sorts of mentality, but developed into a life path going back to myself and the individual to create more consciousness. And in fact, by looking at the individual and his or her authentic power, you create a more harmonious society. So what about women? What I noticed, many women, I got lots of women during my sessions, And many women feel somehow not good enough in their life. It's somehow the effect of past generations, the way we were all conditioned as women, the way we look at life, the way people or even society looks at women. We're still somehow not always at the same level as men. We still live in a patriarchal society, so lots of women do not feel good enough. And what happens then, somehow it's subconsciously, but we get into relations which are not the best for us. We do jobs we do not like. Um, so we do not always do that, what really suits us, what really makes us happy. Some women are really lacking self-confidence and they need this healing and connecting with your body wisdom, your intuition. But it really does not have to be this way. And that's also why I developed this program, how to be in your authentic power. How, as a woman, can you find your inner voice, your unique life path? How can you really be yourself, have the freedom to be yourself? So this has been the motivation for me to help women with their soul mission, with their life path, get in touch with their intuition. And this is something I love doing with animals. We also work with visualization techniques, energy work. There's lots you can do virtually. And I even work with the horses and other animals online, so virtually. And the interesting thing is animals just feel the dynamics of relation of a person. You just know about who we are talking, that you are there, even online. So this is really a magic. And I really see this as my mission to empower women. That's a bit my story.
Well, thank you. It is so fascinating to hear and to think that such an amazing calling was birthed out of heartache and
Yeah, in
moved
fact,
into
yeah.
research, which I think a lot of women too don't look at as a powerful experience, because we can take those hurts and those pains. And when we listen and sit like you did to follow your intuition, it will birth something amazing. And so we don't listen, do we?
No, no, that's true, because the way it should be going, in fact, in society, and that's what I notice also in my life, is going from your gut feeling, which is in fact another brain, going from your intuition, your heart energy to your mind. So if this is aligned, it's much easier to take decisions which are really in tune with your life path, your unique life path.
So true. So, if there was one thing you could tell women right now, a nugget to say, here's where you start, what would that be?
I would say listen to your inner voice, really listen to your intuition. Of course, you must not exclude your mind, but start with your inner voice. I can give you also a small exercise. But first of all, yeah, I noticed that when working with horses and focusing on this energy work, that really our body wisdom is our higher intelligence. All information is stopped here. We only need to access it to know what we should be doing, which decision we must take. So in fact, we have these three brains in our head, in our heart, and really in our gut feeling, our intuition. So I'm sure you know situations where you had to take a decision and you wondered what to do, and your mind said, no, don't do it. And your heart, your intuition told you, go for it, go for it. And finally, your intuition or your heart was right. So there's something really going for it. And I believe that's really the way. If you discover this inner voice, you'll also find this unique life path. We'll give you a little exercise, which is, in fact, sit down, take your time every day, sit down, close your eyes, and go within. Um, Breathe deeply in and out. Imagine that your feet are really on the floor and the roots are growing into the earth. Also imagine somehow, this is really visualization, but imagine a white pillar coming down, going through your body, and just breathe in out, and then just let your thoughts go and see what comes to you. Look what sort of answers you get. When you create this silence, you silence the mind, your soul will speak, and certain images will come to you, or even words. If you practice this, you will really find so much more within yourself, so much more potential. This is what I would really advise people, women especially, to do.
I think that's amazing. I've learned how to ground and to make sure that I'm every day visualizing the day or my mission and where I'm moving. So it is really important, I believe, for women to be able to do that,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So you said you wanted to also maybe share a bit of your book with us.
Yes, I would love to. I would say I would love to read one chapter. Well, it's very, let's say, it really describes well the problems in our relations. This is a session for a couple. They have done quite a lot of counseling. They came to me. We did some mediation sessions, normal mediation sessions where people just have a dialogue, they listen to each other and how they feel. So this active listening creates already lots of goodwill. But what I also suggested to them, let's do a set of the horses. And they agreed. They were a bit skeptical. They'd never done it before. So I'll describe this session to you. I'll start here. So the horses stayed away from the couple after the wife took a place in the field. Sybil, the name of the lady, was the main questioner and had to relax first with some breathing exercises to turn off her circular thoughts. After that, she went intuitively to a place in the ring, following her gut feeling. The mare, one of the horses, halted in the arena. The other horses stayed outside the stables. The coach asked her if she recognized something in the scene. Sybil recognized something. She identified herself immediately with the mare, loyal and a bit anxious in the arena. The mare stood as motionless as if she had been paralyzed by something and looked at the other horses. How would you describe the mare and why paralyzed? The coach asked her. Well, I actually feel a lack of energy, and I keep asking myself if the kids are doing well and looking after my husband as well, but he's almost most of the time gone and not there. So which of the horses would you identify as your husband and which as your children? Intuitively, Sybil knew that the two horses looking into the distance were their children. They stood a little farther away and had begun to move meanwhile. She saw her husband in a different horse, standing on the other side, a little separated. The man in person had intuitively added himself. The coach asked her which horses she felt most attracted to and whether she could go there. She walked to the horses that represented her children. The moment she walked to them, the horses moved a little farther away, totally focused on other things. This happened again and again as Sybil began to move and attempted to seek contact with the horses, her children. What do you feel because of that? The coach asked her. She became thoughtful and looked a bit perplexed. It felt like she was getting in the way of them, or somehow as if she would hassle them. I'm always a bit worried, in fact. My daughter often tells me to give her a little more room to do her own things. And then she said suddenly, oh, I think, in fact, they are very happy without any worries. They are able to follow their own life. And what about your life? The coach asked her. She was very quiet and had to admit that, in fact, she did not have one. I'm not sure why I belong anymore, she said. Sybil saw that a horse represented her husband was still standing motionless beside Sybil's. He's also that horse, my husband, totally absorbed in other things, just not a king. I think he's going to have a burnout the way he lives, she said, a bit bitterly. The coach suggested that her own heart should be represented. There were a few people who were invited as representatives, and she was allowed to choose one from them. Nature was quiet again, and the mare, which represented Sybil, suddenly moved to one of the women present and stopped there. That's weird, Sybil said. I was just about to ask her. The woman who now represented her heart walked into the field and stopped far away from Sybil. Why do you want to stand there, heart of Sybil? Asked the coach. I cannot go on, she said. I have to keep my distance away from her. Does that tell you something? The coach asked Sybil. Yes, in fact, I cannot get in touch with my own heart, with what I really want, what I strongly want. I'm alien to myself, she cried, and stood a bit lost in the middle. Could you walk to your heart and make a new contact with it? It was fascinating how much this representative could feel the energy and emotions of her heart, even if she did not know the person at all. This is the deeper body knowledge, the sensitivity to energy, the intuition that all of us carry within ourselves. Tears streaked down her cheeks as Sybil looked into the eyes of her own heart, and they held hands. She had a feeling of finding herself again. The mare came and tenderly put her nose on both hands to seal that energy. The right words are important and provide a whole new energy and dynamism that influence a person's system and behavior. I'm your heart and I only beat for you. Never let go of me. Listen to me. By now, the mare was standing motionless by her and her heart, and in between her and her husband. Then, the very moment she made contact with her heart, and the other horses came closer to her again, which she immediately noticed. When she turned her attention from her heart to her husband, the mare moved to the side and opened the way to her husband. As they walked towards each other, the energy was very different. Since Sybil had taken the first step to owning her own power and potential to her heart and was able to let go, in this case, of her worries about her children, her husband could also feel freer to develop his authentic power and establish a new relationship. So this is in fact the part of the book. It goes on with other sort of sessions, but this I think is a good example for the relations of many women. Focus on yourself first.
Yes, thank you. That was awesome. An unexpected reading. Very exciting. Thank you. But you're right. Women, we put ourselves last. We do everything for everyone else first. And then we wonder why we're burning out.
Yeah, exactly. That's the essence. That's really the essence of the whole story. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But I loved how the horses, I mean, I love horses, and I know that if I'm in a bad mood, they never come up to me. But they
No, no.
sense it. So they're so sensitive and are able to, when you are feeling upset, just come in there and, comfort you. And it does make a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right. So I'm very passionate about this, about intuition and empathy development in society, women, but for everybody. In fact, it's a whole evolution. I think we really need at the moment in the world, because it would solve so many problems such as burnout, depression, relation problems, as we saw. And I'm sure, like me, many women love nature, and not only do that, they would also love nature, or to show them the interconnection of everything and show them how to find their inner life path. So I believe that everybody who starts following his own inner calling, his inner voice, and chooses what gives him or herself energy, that way we would create a better society, because we all do what we love, and that's such a great power, in fact. We would work more with wisdom than just with the mind. Of course, you don't exclude the mind, but this inner wisdom and heart energy is so important. Yeah, and another point which is interesting is, in fact, that when we work with nature and we have, let's say, we have the trust in ourselves, we have faith in life and in a good outcome, then somehow, when you trust this intuition, somehow life develops itself in a way which is best for you. You'll see when you follow your intuition, things just fall into place, things happen at the right time. Certain situations develop which give you an incredible potential, or new solutions, or you attract the people who really fit into your life puzzle. You also attract better situations, you attract often better jobs. Somehow life starts to work for you. That is, I think, the big difference, if you really trust this intuition and trust life. So this is what I'm really passionate about. And I believe lots of women would be successful if they would put love first. Just love what you're doing, love the people you've got around you, the diversity around you. Of course, you don't need to agree with everybody, but just see the good thing in everything. If you embrace a person with his good and less funny sides, let's say negative sides, you embrace a complete package. And it's the same with life. If you can see the light and the darkness, you just know there can be a balance. So I think a society has forgotten this so much in the past. So felt sense and vision. So live in the moment and enjoy the road, I would say, the road of your life. So this, I think, is a very important message from my side, at least.
Oh, I totally agree. Once I started and learned to stay present, and it has certainly helped my coaching business as well, helping women find their vision and mission and grounding themselves to the earth. It makes a big difference as they go forward.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I mean, I'm always using a sort of acronym. I could just um, quickly mention this to you and describe it to you, which is quite useful for people. And that is called it's the word, I work often with the acronym PATH, like path from life path. So, and this acronym could can really describe points and steps which are important for you in your personal development. So with path, I start with H for healing. So healing from the past is really a condition for happiness in your life. So, and horses, wild animals, can play a wonderful role here. So that is one part. I had, for example, like to recall a client, let's call her Monica. She had a nice account manager job at a health insurance, but there were too many protocols, too many rules, too little exchange between colleagues, no human contact. And that sucked. This was not her dream. But she lacked the self-confidence and sat at home with her burnout. She came to me and we started to work on her blockages and lack of self-love in a way. The horses, I also worked with the horses with her and visualization techniques. The horses showed clearly to her that parents had not given her enough attention. and showed her the way to a healing process. So we just know parents are never perfect. We know that. We can also accept them with the good things and maybe the negative sides, but at the end of the day, they've given you the life. So it's easiest to accept your parents the way they are. So we started there. And a new healing process started with the horses, but also with other techniques. We created a new balance to this relation, and we started with exercises, and she started to embrace herself in all aspects. She felt empowered after these sessions and quit her job, which she did not really like, followed her dream in music and started playing an instrument again, and became somebody with her new contacts she attracted, because suddenly she followed this wave of life and her ideas and her intuition. She became a successful event manager. So that's what she's doing now, and she's much happier. So that is one of the stories. The T, which stands for transformation. It's so important to be able to transform. So we can transform our ideas about ourselves and therefore our lives and relations by finding out this inner compass. So have you really asked yourself, who are you really? Who are you? So it's a wonderful tool. Again, visualization techniques, meditation, animals. Imagine yourself, for example, in an egg. Just relax again. Imagine yourself in an egg, and in complete silence, breathe in and out. And then there appears a small hole in your egg. Which color comes in? Imagine the first color which comes into your mind. This may tell you so much about where your pain lies. This is the color of the chakras. Where lies your pain? What can you do about it? And there again, we have visualization techniques to heal and to transform into a authentic person, a powerful person. So we had also here, there was a lady, she was called India. Of course, I'm not talking about the people themselves, but she was always tired. Her relation was at a dead end. And she came to me and we did some work together to look at her tiredness. So during the sessions, unexpectedly, suddenly a dog came into their session. You know, the interesting thing, everything works together. That's again the interconnect between animals and us, nature and us. And at that moment, she suddenly started crying, and she admitted she had lost her dog recently, and she was at the same time diagnosed with cancer. So somehow this dog felt that she needed to transform, to heal, to go into this healing process. And she had lost all her faith in herself, lost herself and her self-worth completely in the relation. So with visualization exercises, after a few weeks of trauma work, in fact, this is a sort of trauma which settles in your body, she felt much better relation. And soon after, she really met a person who was wonderful, where a relation where mutual respect is very important. So it's also somebody who was very happy after this transformation, just finding her real self. Another point is, of course, the A from path, authenticity. We just talked about it before. Only if you're honest with your emotions and you can embrace them and let them go afterwards, you can be authentic. Authenticity lies in the courage of being vulnerable and gives you the power to change relations and attract the right people and situations around you. So while many people are stuck, we're all stuck with masks. Masks for survival. You can have a symbiotic mask. I explain them all in my book. You can have a psychopathic mask, an oral mask. But these masks, they are there to protect you. But at the same time, it also makes you realize what is important to you. And unfortunately, with masks, you prevent maybe the right people coming to you, the right situation. So try not always wearing these masks. So, and here again, you can do exercises to find out who you really are. and what you really want, like with the exercise I gave you before. Just be in silence and listen to yourself, your intuition, and your heart. And the last part of the word path is, of course, present. And it's nice to end with this part at the present. Are you really living in the present and the now and here? Because we're all worried about the things which yet have to be done, our washing, our work, family obligations, the promotion at our work, and we postpone them until we can be truly happy. We forget that the most precious moment is really now. So enjoy the presence of people around you and the simple things. Gratefulness gives you a huge amount of positive energy. And you know, animals only live in the present. They react if you're not in the here and now, they will just stay away from you. If you're in the here and now and you embrace the moment, they will also come to you. So nature is never in a rush. It takes care of everything happening at the right time. So surrendering to this idea, as I said before, having faith in life and in yourself, in your divine being, makes us all a creator of our lives and creates synchronicity and developments all at the right moment. So in my trainings programs, we learn also how we can find this authentic power to be really in the present. So this is in fact the acronym I would love to inspire women with, and try to work on the exercises and see how they feel after it just by repeating them regularly.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
You're
Because when you
welcome.
repeat some of those, then we can do it on a daily basis. It's quicker, it comes to us, other things come up because you're now in that space.
Exactly, exactly. Create a moment for yourself, even if you've got obligations. Even just in the morning, just take 20 minutes for yourself. Just most silence, make yourself comfortable, and just be only focused on yourself. And this will give you so much energy and so much more joy in life. I experienced it myself. I was always impatient, and now I reserve time for myself. I don't only run around, but I also take time for myself. So I really also wish other women would do the same. You're first, yeah.
It does feel good once you do. Well, thank you so much for joining us from France. This has been such a treat. Thank you so much,
Yeah. Oh,
Alexandra.
me too. It's wonderful to be in touch with you. You're always a very inspiring woman, Alyson. And I love to be in touch with the ladies you have around you. I'm always ready to inspire them, to help them also in their unique life path search. And people can always contact me on elevate.bi slash Sitch. So that's in fact my digital card. And for the rest, you will find all information with Alyson. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time and energy, and Alyson for your wonderful initiative.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And we'll definitely get everyone all of Alexandra's information and contact. So thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate it, honey.
Me too. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.